Hello, and welcome back to Bible Wits Bible Corner. Today we're going to be in Matthew chapter 12, and I'm going to read verses 1 through 8 with the English Standard Version. At that time, Jesus went through the grain fields on the Sabbath. His disciples were hungry, and they began to pluck heads of grain and to eat. But when the Pharisees saw it, they said to him, "Look, your disciples are doing what is not lawful to do on the Sabbath." And he said to them, "Have you not read what David did when he was hungry, and those who were with him? How he entered the house of God and ate the bread of the presence, which it was not lawful for him to eat, nor for those who were with him, but only for the priests? Or have you not read in the law how on the Sabbath the priests in the temple profane the Sabbath and are guiltless? I tell you, something greater than the temple is here, and if you had known what this means, I desire mercy and not sacrifice, you would not have condemned the guiltless, for the Son of Man is Lord of the Sabbath." Okay, so the Pharisees like to put a lot of tradition and a lot of, I'm going to say, facial value on the laws, so much so that, and to the point where they make it near impossible to obey any of what would be the laws of Moses, because they put so many stipulations and, well, you're not supposed to do this, you're not supposed to do that. We see another story where Jesus talks to the Pharisees, and he tells them, "Hey, if your donkey fell in a hole on the Sabbath, would you not work to get it out?" To me, what he's doing there and what he's doing here is he's trying to say, hey, common sense says that what my disciples right now are doing is okay. They're hungry, they're wanting something to eat, and there is food readily available right here. There is nothing wrong with that. So, and then on top of the common sense, he is also trying to get the Pharisees to understand that there is something more important than the law of Moses, more important than the temple. And that something that is more important is standing right there in front of them. And they're blind to it. And then, I desire mercy and not sacrifice. We even see a couple of times in the Old Testament where, and I'm going to get phraseology probably a little bit wrong here, but we see a couple times in the Old Testament where it is said that the way they lived, the prophets would talk to them and say, the way you are living is more important than the sacrifices that you make. In other words, what they were saying is, if you give your life wholly to God, He wants your service. He wants your personal sacrifice to follow Him every day, more than He wants these physical sacrifices that are not even going to do anything to save you. So Jesus knew He was the only one that could save the whole world. He knew He was going to have to go to the cross and be that perfect sacrifice, a human sacrifice, because it was the humans that made mistakes. So, the whole desiring mercy and not sacrifice is a concept that not only did the Pharisees not completely grasp, there's a lot of people today that don't grasp that. They still think that there has to be a lot of the whole tradition applied. Being, I'm even going to say, almost legalistic about it, and making it near impossible to follow God's word. So you're putting too much emphasis on one thing and not enough emphasis on God. You're putting too much emphasis on making sure the exact letter is followed to the point where you're even making stipulations. Well, you can't do this because of this. So a lot of people today are falling under the same trap that the Pharisees did in not looking at the scriptures and preparing the way for Jesus. And then when Jesus came, him becoming the whole living sacrifice for us so that we can have a personal relationship with God. Anyway, I hope you find encouragement in this, and I hope you have a wonderful God-centered day. Bye.